The signal of silence, approx. 800 words, third-person style, simple English. The stars above Drea 4 were calm, shining bright, like always. Below, the human colony slept peacefully, unaware that their world would soon be turned to ashes. It was a quiet night. Children laughed in homes. Workers enjoyed late dinners. The skies were clear, and the sensors reported nothing strange. Drea 4 was far from war, far from danger. Then the silence began. At Earth's central monitoring station, a quiet alarm blinked. The satellite connection with Drea 4 was suddenly lost. No warning, no final message, just nothing. Technician. Leo sat up from his chair, blinking at the black screen in front of him. That can't be right, he muttered. He ran the diagnostic again. Still nothing. He called for his supervisor. Within minutes, the room filled with officers. The colony's last transmission was checked. It was a weather update, clear skies, and normal activity. After that, silence. No live signals. No broadcasts. No escape calls. It was as if the entire colony had vanished in a second. General Reese, a tall, silent man with cold eyes, entered the command room. He looked at the blinking red light on the screen and said, "Send the long-range drone. Check the area. Send a message to their backup comms. I want answers in 1 hour." But the answer didn't come in 1 hour. It came in the form of a crash. In Earth's orbit, a small object entered without clearance. It tumbled through the atmosphere and landed in the ocean near Pacific Base 3. Recovery teams rushed to the site. What they found stunned the world. It was an escape pod, battered, half burned. Inside was a single survivor. A little girl. No, older than 6. Her skin was covered in bruises. Her clothes were torn and bloodied. Clutched tightly in her arms was a toy bear, melted on one side from heat. The girl was alive. Barely. Doctors worked quickly to save her. She didn't speak it. First, just stared with wide, empty eyes. She wouldn't let go of the toy. Not even for surgery. 2 days later, she opened her mouth for the first time. One nurse, a kind woman named Myra, sat beside her and gently asked, "Sweetheart, what happened? Where is your family?" The girl's lips trembled. Her voice was a whisper, soft and broken. "Slaughter?" Myra froze. That one word reached the ears of Earth Command within the hour. And that single word, slaughter, was enough to change everything. General Reese watched the girl's message on screen, over and over. He didn't blink. His hands were tight behind his back. The room was filled with officers, and none dared to speak. He turned toward the group. "We've confirmed. The girl's DNA matches a Drea 4 colonist. Her name is Nia. No other pods were launched. She's the only survivor. Do we know who attacked?" Someone asked. Reese nodded once. "Not yet, but we will. Satellite drones. Picked up faint energy spike traces of weapons. High-energy plasma. Not pirate grade. This was military. Then it's war?" Another voice said. Reese didn't answer right away. He turned toward the window and stared at the stars. He whispered, "Not war. Retribution." At that moment, across the galaxy, the news of Drea 4's fall had not yet spread. The Zarnak coalition, the real attackers, were still silent, hiding their crime. But Earth was no longer waiting for permission. Behind the scenes, Earth's most feared response unit was activated, the Black Phoenix Response Team. These were not ordinary soldiers. They were trained for one purpose: vengeance. Silent, precise, deadly. When Black Phoenix moved, they didn't send messages. They sent fire. That night, Earth Command sent a signal, an encrypted message that blinked once across deep space. It carried only 2 words: begin judgment. And far away, on quiet Zarnak worlds, No one had any idea that the humans had already made their decision. Not for war, not for talks, but for fire. Asterisk, ashes and evidence. Approx. 800 words. Third-person style. Simple basic English. The Black Phoenix ship entered Drea-4's orbit without a sound. It was built for silent war. No flashing lights, no signals. Just shadows and fire. Its name was Simple Vengeance. Inside, Commander Jaren stood in front of the viewing screen. His eyes scanned the surface below. Nothing moved. No power readings. No life signs. Just ruins, dust, and burned earth. Prepare to land. He said calmly, The ship touched down on what used to be Drea-4's central square. Now, it was a field of black ash and melted steel. Buildings were crushed. Roads were cracked. Smoke still rose from some corners. The air was thick. Even through their suits, the team felt it. Death. Jaren led the squad through the ruins. Their boots stepped over scorched debris. Bodies were found, some still holding hands, others trying to shield children. No one survived. It wasn't a battle. It was a massacre. Scan the area, Jaren ordered. Find anything that can speak. For them. One of the soldiers, Kayla, found a security tower half standing. She climbed the rubble, carefully reaching a terminal. It's half burned, but I might be able to recover camera feeds. She worked quickly, fingers moving fast. Minutes later, a flickering image appeared on everyone's helmet screen. The footage showed a quiet night. Children playing. Lights. Glowing. Then ... flashes ... purple plasma bolts tore through the buildings. Ships with black hulls dropped soldiers in armor with Zarnak symbols. They fired without mercy. No warnings, no demands. Just fire. Jaren watched silently. He didn't move. When the footage ended, he whispered, Record everything, make copies. This must be shown. Further searching led the team to a half-buried pod. Inside, they found a small, round drone. It was dented, but still intact. Kayla tapped a button, and the drone lit up. Audio recovered, she said. The voice of a dying colonist played. We trusted them. They were our friends. Why the children? The voice faded. Everyone stood still. No one spoke. Then a second recording played, this one from the attackers. A Zarnak officer's voice echoed from the drone. The humans grow. Too fast. Their kindness hides strength. Better to strike now before they grow stronger. Kill them all. Jaren's jaw tightened. He turned to his team. Now we know. It wasn't an accident. It was planned. It was betrayal. The message was sent directly to Earth. Back on Earth, General Reese received the files. He watched the footage. He played the voices again and again. Then he faced the military council. Drea-4 was attacked by the Zarnak coalition, he said. They were our allies once. Now, they've murdered 7,000 of our people, most of them civilians. Over 800 were children. One of the council members whispered, Do they know we've confirmed it was them? Reese replied, No, and they won't. Not until we answer. What is the response? Reese didn't smile. His voice was stone. Fire. The next steps moved fast. Earth's most powerful fleet, Blackstorm, was ordered into formation. 70. Warships, including orbital strikers, stealth cruisers, and drop-shock carriers, were loaded for full planetary assault. They did not send warnings. They did not ask questions. They just launched. Across human space, people stood in silence as the news spread. Drea-4 was gone. And Earth would not forget on the Zarnak homeworld. Nothing seemed wrong. Life went on as usual. Their leaders were proud. They believed their attack would keep humans weak. Fearful they were wrong. The first sign of Earth's presence came when the Zarnak Deep Space Relay Station went dark. Then their forward base on Moon Delta exploded. Then silence again, but this time it was their silence dot in less than 3 days. 3 Zarnak outer colonies stopped responding. One message escaped from the edge of their space. The humans are here. They're not talking. They're burning everything. Earth's cold decision. Approx. 800 words, third-person style. Simple basic English. The Zarnak High Council gathered in their silver chamber, laughing softly. They still haven't responded, said one general. Typical humans. Slow and emotional. Another chuckled. Let them grieve. By the time they react, we'll be 2 sectors ahead. But in the darkness between stars, Earth had already decided dot at Terran Command HQ. Far below Earth's surface, a war room glowed with red lights. Dozens of military leaders stood around a round table. Holograms showed Zarnak systems, planets, defense lines. General Reese entered without a word. Everyone fell silent. He placed a single item on the table, a piece of melted metal, once part of a child's toy recovered from Drea 4. This, he said, is all that's left of her family. A quiet buzz filled the room. He continued. The Zarnak attacked without warning. They killed civilians, children. They recorded it. They bragged about it. They did not fear us. Reese raised his head. It's time they learned fear. An admiral stepped forward. Are we sure? The Galactic Council. Reese interrupted. The council watched and said nothing. They sat silent while we buried 7,000 of our people. We don't need permission to defend our dead. The room went still, and the order was spoken. Initiate Operation Fireveil. Across the galaxy, Earth's Blackstorm fleet moved like a storm that made no sound. 70 Terran warships, engines. Cold, weapons hot, each crew ready to burn for Drea 4. The flagship, Retribution, led the charge. Commander Jaren stood on the bridge, calm and steady. A soft hum of power filled the ship as thousands of Earth's best soldiers waited in silence. Target systems locked, a voice said. Awaiting command, said another. Jaren gave the nod. We're not here to take prisoners. We're here to remind them who we are. In a whisper, he added, let fire speak. Meanwhile, in a peaceful Zarnak city on planet Yara 3, the skies suddenly turned red. Mothers held their children. Scientists looked up, confused. A young soldier whispered, is that ... thunder? But there were no clouds ... just shadows falling from orbit ... Then came the light. Single Terran ship unleashed a kinetic strike from orbit. Faster than sound, hotter than a sun. The impact erased half the capital in 1 second. Buildings melted. Streets cracked. And the screams began. Across 3 more Zarnak worlds, the same thing happened. No warnings. No messages. Just burning skies and collapsing cities. The Terran fleet did not speak ... it roared. Back on Earth, a signal was broadcast across neutral systems. A simple message, playing on repeat. It showed a still image. The Drea 4 child holding her melted. Bare. And a voice. We asked for peace. You answered with blood. Now we will answer you. And you will remember why humans are feared. This message reached every known corner of the galaxy. Some races shut down their systems in fear. Others prayed. A few even began fleeing Zarnak space, fearing Earth's fury might burn beyond its borders. The Zarnak Council finally realized what had happened, but it was too late. On board the Retribution, Commander Jaren watched as the screen showed flames rising from Zarnak cities. A young officer asked, Sir, what if they surrender? Jaren's face remained like stone. They won't get that chance. Drea 4 didn't. He turned away from the screen and walked toward the armory. Next planet. Burn it clean. The fire that crossed stars. Approx. 800 words, third-person style, third person, basic and simple English. The stars above Zarnak Prime were shining bright cold, distant, peaceful dot inside the main government tower, Zarnak. Leaders gathered, confused and angry. 3 of our colonies are gone. Barked a minister. Earth didn't even contact us. Shouted another. They just attacked. They didn't attack, whispered the defense warlord. They punished. But their confusion wouldn't last long. Dot above them, hidden in orbit. Earth's stealth cruiser Ghostlight activated its targeting system. Dozens of kinetic rods, invisible and silent, were locked on Zarnak Prime's key cities. No missiles. No lasers. Just falling metal fast, heavy, and impossible to stop. From space, the rods dropped like silent judgment. Commander Jaren stood on the bridge of the Retribution, arms crossed, eyes locked on the monitor. Behind him, his officers sat quietly. No celebration, no cheers, only focus. Impact in 10 seconds. The ship AI announced. The screen showed Zarnak Prime's surface, a peaceful city, tall glass towers, public gardens, glowing bridges. Then the rod struck. Each rod hit like a small asteroid. The city center disappeared. Streets buckled. Shock waves flattened everything. Towering buildings crashed like paper houses. Then came the second wave. A strike on the power grid. The planet went dark. Then the last rod directed at their military base. The ground split open. Jaren spoke one word. Next. Across the Zarnak system, panic exploded. People screamed in the streets. Ships tried to leave orbit, but were destroyed in seconds by Earth's interceptors. Others tried to hide underground. Those tunnels became their tombs. The Zarnak military tried to organize a counterattack. But Earth's next phase had already started. From orbit, drop pods rained down, small, black, and burning. When they landed, they opened to reveal Terran Deathworlders. Clad in black armor, faces hidden, they moved like shadows. One Deathworlder entered a Zarnak control post, where soldiers aimed shaking rifles. Before they could shoot, he moved, fast, silent, lethal. In. Under 7 seconds, they were all down. Back at the Galactic Council chamber, the mood had shifted. What used to be laughter and debate had turned into fear. Ambassadors watched the footage in silence, planet after planet turning to flame. People screaming, Zarnak cities erased. The Coral ambassador stood and said, "They didn't ask for surrender." "No," said the Fenari ambassador, "because Earth already knows surrender means nothing." The Zarnak didn't allow Drea 4 to surrender either. "They're not at war," whispered another. "They're making an example." That day, several members of the council quietly deactivated old trade deals with the Zarnak. No one wanted to be on Earth's list next. On a hidden Zarnak outpost, a commander tried to send a distress call, but before his message could reach anyone, a human appeared in the doorway, his armor glowing faintly red. The Zarnak tried to speak. "Please." "We didn't know." The human raised his weapon and said one thing. "You killed children." And pulled the trigger. Aboard the Retribution, Commander Jaren stood before a small black box. Inside was the melted toy bear found with the girl from DREY. A -4. He picked it up, looked at it, and then carefully placed it beside a growing list A. Tablet with the names of every fallen Drea 4 colonist. "We don't forget," he said softly. "And we don't forgive." The screen beside him blinked. Zarnak losses. 7 colonies destroyed, 14 major. Cities gone, 4 billion dead or unaccounted. For military fleet, 92% destroyed, remaining communication. None, but Jaren didn't smile. His eyes were still cold. "We're not done," he said. Across neutral space, the stars burned with new fire. Traders and travelers began marking entire sectors as "Do not enter human operation active." For the first time in decades, alien. Warlords stayed silent. For the first time in centuries, Earth spoke without speaking. Only fire spoke now. Asterisk. Cries in the void. Approx. 800 words, third-person style. Simple basic English. The Zarnak homeworld was in ruins. What once was a powerful empire was now a broken shadow. Fires still burned in the capital. Smoke blocked the stars. Communications were cut, and cities had no power. Inside the main bunker, deep under what remained of the Zarnak Council building, the leaders sat in silence. No more arguing. No more pride. Only fear. "We must send a message," the Prime Speaker whispered. "We beg for peace." "But they won't answer," said the Defense Warlord, trembling. "They didn't reply to our last 3 messages." "Earth isn't listening." "They're listening," said another. "They just don't care anymore." On Earth's side, the response was silence. Every signal the Zarnak sent was received and ignored. No reply, no warning, no offer. Only ships, more Terran ships, above the burning skies of Zarnak Colony 7. A small human vessel hovered. Inside, Commander Jaren stared at a blinking message on his screen. It was a live transmission from a Zarnak official, weeping. "Please, we didn't know the colony had children. We were misinformed. Let us surrender. We will pay reparations. Just stop." Jaren didn't press play. He just closed the message. "They didn't listen to our children," he said. "We won't listen to theirs." Meanwhile, on Earth, a small room held the only survivor from DREYA-4. Little Nia sat on a hospital bed, watching the stars on the ceiling projector. She still didn't talk much. She held the same melted toy in her lap. Nurse Mira sat beside her. "Do you want to go outside today?" "We have a garden." Nia shook her head. She was still afraid of the sky. Suddenly, the door opened. A tall man in a black uniform stepped in. His name was General Reese. He knelt beside her, gently placing a medal in her hands. "Your family will be remembered, all of them." Nia looked up at him and finally asked, "Are the bad ones gone?" Reese nodded slowly. "Not yet, but they will be. We promise." Back in space, Earth's warfleet continued its march. Zarnak Colony 9 had only scientists and miners. They weren't soldiers. They weren't leaders. But they wore the Zarnak crest. And the order from Earth was clear. No one wearing that crest shall remain. Terran drop pods landed across the colony. The people tried to flee, but Earth's soldiers moved too fast. There was no talk, no offers, no warnings, only judgment. A young Zarnak technician tried to hide inside a storage unit. A human soldier found her. She raised her hands, shaking. "I didn't hurt anyone, I swear." The soldier looked at her, then at the crest on her uniform. 1 second later, the sound of a shot echoed through the metal halls. In the galaxy's neutral systems, species began deleting Zarnak data from their records. Allies cut all connections. Former trade partners ran cold. Even the Galactic Council, once neutral, released a statement. "We do not support what the Zarnak did. We regret that Earth must respond in this way, but we will not interfere." Earth's silence is louder than our voices. Ambassadors whispered behind closed doors. If Earth could do this to the Zarnak, what happens if we're next? Fear spread faster than fire. On a destroyed Zarnak moonbase, a group of survivors gathered underground. They had lost contact with their leaders. Supplies were low. Hope was dying. Then they heard footsteps, heavy, slow, cold. One by one, they looked up. A single human soldier stood in the doorway, black armor covered in ash. No words, no demands. Just silence. The leader of the survivors stepped forward, shaking. "We're not military. We're just workers. Please." The soldier raised his rifle. But before firing, He spoke 5 words. You watched them burn children. Then the room went dark. On board the Retribution, Commander Jaren sat alone. He looked at a small holoscreen, showing the names of Drea 4's dead one name slowly flashing. Nia Ellen, survivor. He closed his eyes and whispered, "We are not monsters. We just stopped pretending to be peaceful." Outside the window, stars burned brighter, because so many others were now burning out. Asterisk, the last dream. Approx. 800 words, 3rd person. Style, simple basic English. The last Zarnak leaders were no longer sitting in council halls. They were hiding. Beneath the frozen surface of Loren V, their final moon base had become a tomb. Thick walls, automated turrets, cloaking fields. It was built to be invisible. Even the stars above were silent. Inside the bunker, the Zarnak Prime leader, once proud and bold, now whispered in fear. "Have the humans found us?" A technician answered, voice shaking, "We've blocked all signals. We're safe, for now." But they weren't. High above Loren V, a Terran stealth drone hovered quietly. It had no weapons. It didn't need them. Its only purpose was to watch and to whisper. The location was locked. The command was sent, and Earth listened. Aboard the Terran battleship Oblivion Fang, Commander Jaren received the final coordinates. His crew didn't cheer. They just moved, cold and focused. "This is the heart," Jaren said. "No strike, no orbital burn. We go down there and look them in the eyes." His team nodded. 15 of Earth's deadliest soldiers prepared for descent. Armor checked, blades sharpened. Names of Drea 4 burned into the inside of their visors. They didn't come for battle. They came for the end. The strike team landed in silence. Snow blew across the icy plains of Loren V. The base was hidden under layers of rock and ice, but Earth scanners saw through everything. Jaren stood at the front, his boots crunching through frost. "Drill through," he said. The team used silent plasma cutters, slicing through the outer wall like butter. No alarm sounded. The Zarnik inside were too afraid to speak, too slow to run. Within minutes, the humans entered the bunker. The lights flickered. Zarnik guards tried to fire, but were taken down before they raised their weapons. Earth soldiers moved like shadows, no wasted motion, no second shots. The team reached the control center. It was cold, full of blinking lights and trembling Zarnik. The Prime Leader stood in the middle, his hands raised. "I surrender," he said. Jaren stepped forward, face hidden behind his black visor. "I'm unarmed," the leader added. "You can take me prisoner. We'll pay credits, technology, anything." Jaren didn't speak. Instead, he lifted a small data chip. "This chip contains the footage from Drea 4. We recovered it from a child's escape pod. You knew. You planned it. You watched it." The Prime Leader's face fell. "We thought. Humans were growing too fast. We feared you." "You feared us," Jaren repeated. He pulled off his helmet, revealing calm eyes full of fire. "You should have feared your own decision." The last thing the Prime Leader saw was the black blade sliding silently from Jaren's gauntlet. No scream, no fight, just silence. Outside the bunker, the Terran soldiers stood still as Loren V's sky shifted. Above, Earth's ships hovered. Then, without warning, a giant kinetic strike fell from orbit. The entire moonbase was swallowed in light. A roar shook space. The explosion could be seen from nearby systems. What remained of the bunker was dust. No signals, no life, no screams, only silence again. Back on Earth, in a small white room, Nia Drea 4's only survivor sat beside Nurse Mira. She looked up at the stars on the ceiling screen. "Are they all gone now?" Mira smiled softly, brushing Nia's hair. "Yes," she said. "You are safe now." Nia hugged her melted bear tighter and closed her eyes for the first peaceful sleep since the night the stars burned red. In orbit, General Reese stood alone in the war chamber. All Zarnik systems were silent. All colonies gone. No military. No leaders. No home. An officer whispered, "Sir, the operation is complete. Do you wish to broadcast a final message?" Reese thought for a moment, then shook his head. "No words," he said. "Let the silence speak." Across the galaxy, that silence spread. No more Zarnak systems lit up on scanners. Their planets were ash. Their people gone. And every empire, every species that once thought Earth was slow or soft now looked at those empty stars and remembered what silence meant. Not peace. But Earth's wrath. Asterisk. When Earth goes silent. Approx. 800 words, third-person style, simple basic English. The war was over. But no celebration came. No music. No speeches. No flags. Only silence. In the empty space where the Zarnak Empire once ruled, their systems now floated like ghost towns. Satellites drifted with no signal. Their cities were gone. Their leaders erased. Their armies crushed. The stars, once full of trade and travel, now held only quiet ashes and cold wreckage. No species dared enter. Everyone remembered the name. Trey-4. In the Terran war room. General Reese stood alone before the galaxy map. Red lights marking Zarnak space slowly faded one by one. The mission was complete, but he didn't smile. Behind him, a voice spoke softly. "Sir, what shall we do with the final report?" Reese replied, "Archive it." "No message to the galaxy?" He turned and shook his head. "Let them wonder. Let them remember that Earth answered without asking for permission." He walked away, leaving behind only a single phrase carved into the wall. "You remember the silence before the screams." On a quiet farm outside New Terra City, Nia ran barefoot across a green field. Her hair flew behind her like wind. She really laughed, for the first time since Drey. A -4. Nurse, Mira watched her from a bench, smiling softly. The melted bear, now cleaned and repaired as best it could be, sat beside her. The girl was healing, but she would never forget. Neither would Earth. Across the stars, rumors spread. Stories. Whispers that they said Earth didn't just destroy the Zarnik. They erased their memory. They said Terran soldiers walked through fire and didn't blink. That their ships didn't make sound when they arrived, only when they left, with fire behind them. One ambassador from a distant star empire said it best. The worst part wasn't Earth's weapons. It was their silence. You knew they were angry, but they didn't shout. They just stopped speaking. And when they stop speaking, they start burning. At the edge of the galaxy, a gathering of young alien cadets sat inside a military school. One raised his hand and asked, "Why do we study Earth so carefully? They don't even attend council meetings anymore." The teacher, an old warrior from the Jaro species, paused. He looked out the window at the distant stars and replied, "Because Earth only speaks once. If you do not listen the first time, you may never hear them again." In a far-off archive, a small beacon sat blinking. It was Earth's final unspoken message. No video, no sound, just text. To all species watching, we asked for peace. We lived in silence. You brought screams. Now remember ours. No name signed. But everyone knew. In the heart of space, where Drey-4 once stood proud, a new monument now floated silently. Made of black stone and surrounded by starlight, it carried the names of the 7,000 colonists who were lost. No guards protected it. No lights blinked. Yet no one dared go near it. On the base of the monument, 3 words were carved deep. Earth remembers everything. And somewhere in deep space, Earth's fleets drifted quietly. Waiting That watching, that not for war, but for silence to be broken again. And if it ever was, the stars would burn once more. Asterisk.